Millionaire returned home pretending to be poor to test his family. What they did shocked him. It was a cold, gray Tuesday morning when Richard Hale stepped off the bus in his hometown, barefoot in worn-out sneakers, his once tailored suit replaced by a faded jacket and jeans 2 sizes too big. His hands trembled, not from the chill, but from what he was about to do. Richard wasn't just any man. He was a self-made millionaire, CEO of a thriving tech firm, owner of luxury cars, and a penthouse overlooking the city skyline. But wealth had taught him one painful truth: people love your success more than they love you. So he made a decision that would change everything. He called his assistant and instructed her to freeze all public appearances, shut down his social media, and spread word that his company had collapsed due to risky investments. Then, with nothing but a duffel bag and a heart full of doubt, he returned home, not as Richard the millionaire, but as Richard the broken man. When he knocked on the front door of the family estate he'd built with his own hands, it swung open to reveal his brother, Marcus. "Richard?" Marcus blinked, stepping back as if he'd seen a ghost, or worse, a beggar. "What happened to you?" "I'd lost everything," Richard said quietly, eyes downcast. "The company's gone. I have nowhere else to go." Marcus scoffed, arms crossed. "You should have been smarter with your money. Now you're going to drag us into your mess?" Before Richard could respond, his sister, Linda, appeared behind Marcus, clutching her designer handbag like a shield. "Richard, I'm sorry, but if you're here for loans or shelter, think again. My kid's tuition is due next month." Even his 19-year-old son, Daniel, barely looked up from his phone. "Dad, maybe you should stay at a hotel until you get back on your feet," he mumbled, already walking away. No hug, no comfort, not even a glass of water. Heart heavy, Richard turned to leave, until a small voice stopped him. "Daddy?" He turned. There stood Emily, his youngest daughter, only 16, with wide, worried eyes and messy braids. Without hesitation, she ran to him and wrapped her arms around his waist. "You can stay with me," she whispered. "I have my room, and I'll share my food." That night, while the rest of the house remained silent and distant, Emily made him a plate of rice and stew, the last of her allowance. She sat beside him on the couch, listening as he spoke about failure, fear, and loneliness. She didn't offer advice, she just listened. Over the next 6 days, Emily became his anchor. She washed his clothes, helped him apply for fake job listings, and even offered to sell her car, a modest second-hand sedan she'd saved for since she was 14, to help him start over. "I don't need much, Daddy," she said one evening, tears glistening in her eyes. "As long as you're safe, I'm okay." On the 7th morning, Richard woke before sunrise. He showered, shaved, and dressed in a crisp white shirt he'd hidden in his duffel. At breakfast, the family gathered, still avoiding him, when he placed 3 items on the dining table: his Rolex watch, his iPhone, and a folder stamped with his company's logo. Silence fell like a guillotine. "I never lost everything," Richard said, voice steady but filled with emotion. "I came home to see who loved me, not my money." Marcus dropped his coffee cup. Linda gasped. Daniel froze mid-bite. "But Emily," Richard turned to his daughter, tears finally spilling over. "You saw your father, not his bank account. You gave without expecting anything in return. That's real love." Emily stared at him stunned, then burst into tears. You were testing us?" "Yes," he nodded, "and only you passed." The room erupted. Marcus shouted accusations. Linda cried about embarrassment. Daniel accused him of being cruel. But Richard remained calm. "I'm not angry," he said softly. "I needed to know the truth, and now I do." He turned to Emily and took her hands. "From this day forward, you'll never want for anything, not because I'll buy you things, but because I'll always be there for you, just as you were for me." Then, with quiet resolve, he added, "As for the rest of you, my doors are still open, but love must be earned, not assumed."
The family left the table in shame. Only Emily stayed, leaning into her father's embrace. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us bring more emotional, hope-filled stories to millions around the world. Don't forget to drop a comment below. Tell us where you're watching from and who in your life has shown you unconditional love. Because in a world obsessed with wealth and status, kindness is the rarest currency of all. And sometimes the poorest-looking person carries the richest heart. Thanks for watching.